This video is designed to take you through the 3 documents that have been posted to this conference that have been produced as a result of the Writing 391 COG, or Course Outcome Guides, discussion. Writing 391 would be called Advanced Writing under this new model, and in the next few weeks we'll talk about the documents that have been posted. The 3 documents that have been attached to this conference are the 3 documents that were produced as a result of the Writing 391 Course Outcome Guides discussion. The first document is the syllabus, and as you can see, Writing 391 has a new name, Advanced Writing. The course description is given on your screen. Instruction and practice in academic research skills, critical analysis of scholarly sources, and integration of source material into a complex argument. So this is a step up from Writing 291. Pre-writing exercises, a critique, a critical annotated bibliography, and a literature review, followed by a statement of proposed research, would be the assignments involved in 391. The course outcomes for 391 have been revised into these 4 outcomes. But before I talk about these 4 outcomes, let's talk about the present course objectives for 391. The current course objectives for 391 include 9 specific objectives related to understanding rhetorical conventions, choosing appropriate strategies, and searching for sources, and incorporating sources, and demonstrating accurate grammar. The COG process is causing courses to focus on anywhere from 3 to 6 outcomes. For 391, we have 4 outcomes now. Locate, organize, and evaluate diverse sources. Apply the writing process and research process to critically analyze scholarship. Integrate appropriate sources into well-supported paragraphs with complex arguments. And demonstrating accurate grammar, mechanics, and documentation style. These 4 outcomes, or more specifically 3 of them, are based on some research in the literature of writing feedback. Stern and Solomon wrote a paper in 2006, Effective Faculty Feedback, The Road Less Traveled. They conducted a study on faculty feedback to writing. I won't get into the details of the study, but I want to scroll down to the method they used in analyzing teachers' responses to students' writing. They divided responses into 4 categories: the global level, the middle level, and the micro level, and finally the other comments. Global level refers to the overall quality of the paper, the writing style, the paper structure, the organization, etc., the creativity and the voice. I would add, whether the topic itself is too broad or maybe perhaps too narrow. These would be global issues. Middle level issues refer to the quality of specific thoughts and claims, some of the supporting evidence for the claims, the request for content clarification, paragraph and sentence structure or style. I personally would think sentence structure would go to the next level, the micro level. I think of the paragraph level as the middle level. But let's go down to the last, the third category. The micro level had to do with word choice, phrasing, had to do with missing words and pieces, grammar and punctuation, spelling, etc. They also talked about references and citations being in the micro level issues. So, based on the Stern and Solomon article, outcome 2 is our global outcome. Apply the writing and research process to critically analyze scholarship. Outcome 3 is our middle level outcome. Unified, coherent, well-supported paragraphs within complex arguments. Outcome 4 is our micro level outcome. Accurate grammar, mechanics, and documentation style. Outcome 1 is actually a separate outcome specific to the research process. We thought that was important to include in 391. The document continues with a course introduction, a review of the modules, and then of course you have the proposed grading information and criteria. Course participation was proposed to be 20%. There are 2 drafts of a critique, a rough draft and a final draft, a critical annotated bibliography, 2 drafts of a literature review, which is the main paper for the course, a rough draft and a final draft, and a statement of proposed research which will act as the authentic assessment or the final project of the course. That authentic assessment or final project is worth 10% of the final grade. Specifically, the critique involves a rough draft and a final draft. As you can see from the final draft description, the critique essay asks you to look at a source with a critical eye and discuss its strengths and weaknesses. It will incorporate source material summary into its discussion, but it will also evaluate that source material. The source may be determined by the instructor, or you may be asked to find your own source material. So it depends on the instructor as to the specifics of this assignment. But the rough draft would be a situation in which the student has selected a specific source to critique, develop sources to help the student critique that source, and write notes and develop an organizational strategy. So you have a rough draft and a final draft of the critique. Writing 391 involves writing a critical annotated bibliography. This is as opposed to the descriptive annotated bibliography in 291. In this critical annotated bibliography, students would find 12 to 15 sources and summarize them, noting bias, objective, and lack of evidence. It may show the source, how the research may or may not be useful in the writer's research. And this will lead to the rough draft and the final draft of the literature review, which will be the main paper for Writing 391. Literature reviews are very helpful for not only academic writing, but they're also used in business situations, certainly in graduate school. So the final paper in 391 will be a literature review, classifying research findings, synthesizing them, and reporting them to an audience. And this will be done in at least 2 drafts, maybe more. Following the literature review, the authentic assessment or the final project of the class will be a proposed statement of research. The statement of research might include a research topic, the relevance of that research topic to a larger field of study, a proposed strategy for completing the project, and the limitations of the proposed project. This is actually an assignment that we borrowed from COM 600, a course we teach for UMUC's graduate school. After writing a literature review, a student would then propose a gap or a niche in the research that he or she has found. And if he or she were to conduct research, we would write a 2 or 3 page summary of what the kind of research the student would do. This leads us to our next document, the actual course outcomes guide document. It has the 4 course outcomes and the assessments that the students will do, the tasks they will do in order to assess whether they've accomplished these outcomes. And on the right hand side are the core concepts, skills, and issues that students will deal with or have to overcome in order to master the skills necessary to finish these assessments. At the bottom of the page is the writing program outcomes. These are the writing program outcomes for all of the writing courses at UMUC, not just the academic writing courses. This P1 through P6 represents the writing program outcomes to which Writing 391 and our other courses have been mapped. Finally, we come to the 8-week schedule. The first week, conferences would be conducted in which students are learning a lot about research, paragraphing, narrowing a topic, etc. In week 2, the critique draft would be submitted, along with other conference activity. In week 3, the final draft of the critique would be posted, in addition to other conference activity. In week 4, the critical annotated bibliography would be submitted, of 10 to 15 sources. In addition, in week 4, students are learning about the literature review, some other principles that will help with that. Other skills would be introduced to the student. And in week 5, the student would actually submit the rough draft of the literature review. Week 6 is left open for the instructor to give feedback on that literature review. And week 7 is for the final draft of the literature review, 10 to 15 sources, 8 to 12 pages. The statement of proposed research is reserved for week 8, in which the student finds a niche or a gap within the research. Hopefully this video has given you a better understanding of the documents that have been attached. We look forward to a robust discussion in the next few weeks.